Hey everybody, my name is Dr. Mark Costas. This is Dr. Taher Dune, Dr. Chris Green. Not on film right now is Dr. Addison Killeen, and we are the Practice Launchpad team. You're watching this video because you're interested in learning more about startups and acquisitions. Potentially you're going through the process already and you've discovered how difficult it can be to traverse these waters alone. I have a pretty unique background because I've owned 16 dental practices in my 19-year career. 6 of them were startups and 10 of them were acquisitions. And I don't say that to brag because I've made just about every mistake you could possibly make in the startup and acquisitions game. And it is my goal to share what I've learned from all of those mistakes over the years to make sure that people out there don't make the same expensive mistakes that I made. Dr. Taher Dune has an acquisition that he's owned for 4 years. He's experienced over 300% growth. He's gone from just over $1 million to over a $3 million practice in just a 4-year period of time. But to me, what's more impressive is that he's gone from a 68% overhead to below 50% overhead, which is why he's one of our black belt coaches inside DSI. Dr. Chris Green here has a very successful startup that he's owned for 2.5 years. In the first 12 months, that practice had revenues of $1.4 million with an average new patient number per month of 130 new patients per month. Now he is well over $2 million and he's just killing it. His overhead as well is below 50%. Addison Killeen has owned 6 dental practices. He sold his first group and now he is in a startup that did over $1.5 million in a 12-month period of time. So I think that our team here has the street cred to help you guys through this process because we've seen just about everything you could possibly see in doing a startup and in an acquisition. Trying to do this by yourself can cost you time and a lot of money. So we're going to go over exactly the services that the Practice Launchpad offers. All right, so here's what you get. We'll start with you, Chris.
All right, first of all, we have a document vault here, an 800-page manual that goes through, this is basically a compilation of all the documents we used in the process from ground zero to opening day. So that document vault is one of the first things you'll receive, and it comes with videos, outlines, checklists, and we're going to go into that in more detail in a minute because there's a lot of power in what's right here. Next, Dr. Mark Costas has shared the Transformation 45. Mark, can you tell us a little bit about that program?
Sure. So the Transformation 45 is for anybody that owns a dental practice or is planning to own a dental practice. Again, in my 16 practice history, I've made lots of mistakes, but I've also learned a lot about how to run an efficient and profitable dental practice. A lot of that is through awareness of overhead and cash flow control. We talk a lot about that in Transformation 45. We talk about systemization because systemization is the key to owning an efficient and profitable dental practice. And we talk about HR, we talk about hiring and firing, we talk about marketing, we talk about patient experience. Everything that it takes from a systemization standpoint to run a successful practice is inside Transformation 45.
I think it's a great resource. Just if you don't know where to start with business, Transformation 45 is going to help you hit the ground running for sure. Next is the Dental Startup 30 course run by Dr. Addison Killeen and Dr. Mark Costas. Me and Dr. Dune have made appearances on there as well. And that is a course where we go through each step for a startup. Addison runs it, so I can't say it as well as him, but Mark, tell us a little more about that.
Yeah, so the Dental Startup 30 is also a crash course. It takes place twice a week right now. You guys will have a condensed version because you will have recordings of all of the lesson plans and the lessons that we've done, all the videos that we've shot, all the exercises that we include in that, but it includes everything from office design to architecture to construction to marketing, making sure you get that 100 new patients the first month that you're open, to systemization. Everything that it takes to have a successful startup, we condense down into a 30-day crash course, and you guys have access to all of those videos and all of those exercises.
We're also including demographics reports, block floor plan design, Construction and architecture coaching. I know for me personally, this was one of the scariest parts of the whole process. As a dentist with no family in construction, this can be very daunting, and there's a lot of ways that we've learned to save money and different types of expenses throughout that process. Operations manual will give you a copy of the printed operations manual as well as access to all of our digital copies. That's something that'll help you hit the ground running with systems. A 1-year DSN membership. The DSN community has been a lifesaver for a lot of us. So much knowledge in there, just really helpful, successful people trying to support each other.
So the DSN, I found a DSN about 3 years ago. DSN has 3 components. It's got a really powerful buying group. It's got an online community where we have different rooms from clinical, we have oral surgery, we have IV sedation, we have perio, we have implantology, and then we have practice management and investments and those sorts of rooms that are moderated by about 20 faculty members inside DSN. We have over 1,000 members inside DSN with a collective revenue of over $1 billion. So that gives us the ability to negotiate with a lot of different vendors. So we have one of the most powerful and largest buying groups in all of dentistry, and you have access to that in addition to our continuing education library. That's all inside DSN.
And to piggyback on that with the vendor relations, a lot of the process of a startup or acquisition is you need to meet with lawyers, HR specialists, lease negotiators. The list goes on and on. We've pre-vetted out people that we trust in the community and in each space, and we get you direct contact and often vendor deals with those folks.
All right, Dr. Dune, how about you take it over for a little bit? What else do you get with the startup course?
So you'll have monthly coaching calls with Dr. Green, myself, Dr. Killeen, Dr. Costas. We have the invitation to the DSI Private Elite Mastermind event. I mean, this is huge. So, I mean, not only do you get the curriculum from DSI, but at the same time, you get to rub elbows with all the people in this group that are just killing it. I mean, a lot of the stuff that I learned was on the break periods, or afterwards when we're grabbing a beer at the bar. Those are the times that you make the connections with the people who are across the nation who are just absolutely killing it, and you're going to run ideas by them and you're going to grow exponentially. So that event is huge. You get the Super GP playbook. So Chris and myself, we put together a list of all the articles that we've read, all the different CE events that we've done, all the things that have moved the needle for us in a major way. This is everything in one massive document that you guys can go read, do the courses, and you're going to see your productivity just go through the roof. So it's huge from a clinical perspective. We're huge advocates in terms of you being very clinically savvy before you get into the acquisition or startup forum. But at the end of the day, if you need to still get a little bit more of those clinical chops, this Super GP playbook is the recipe to get there. We also have marketing strategies and coaching. So a lot of you guys are going to learn through the program. My office currently is behind a library. I've had to figure out all the different ways on how to market, right? So I do print marketing, billboards, TV commercials, SEO, Facebook, you name it, I've done it. I know what works in my area. I know what doesn't work. And we have all the print marketing and all that stuff ready for you guys. So it's a pretty seamless process from a marketing perspective. We have equipment bid reviews. I mean, this is huge. You let your rep tell you what you need to buy. You're going to be spending 30, 40, 50K extra. So Chris is a monster on this. He'll take a look at that equipment bid review, and we're going to squeeze your reps, and so we can save you some money. Then you can take that money, put it into something else, maybe marketing, so you could get 100 new patients per month. We also have IT bid review. Again, I mean, especially in Colorado, there's one company that has the market share on IT, and we review their bids, and they are just through the roof. So Chris also is very, very good at squeezing your IT bids down, saving you, again, what did you save, $20,000 on your startup?
Yeah, I was quoted $35,000. We got it down to $15,000.
Yeah, imagine what you could do with $20,000 extra dollars. So signage review, we're going to look at the logos, we're going to look at the signage, we're going to see what has the best conversion rate for you. At the end of the day, I mean, you just got to get your name out there, you got to get the traffic count up, and you got to let people know in the community that you're there. Supply formulary, I mean, we have this through DSN, we have it through Darby, we have a Shine formulary. We'll look at your supply bid, we'll look at the procedures you do, and we'll make recommendations on different things that you need to stock up on, things you can potentially wait on. That way you can kind of spread out your accounts payable for a little bit. We're going to look at the contract templates, the PSA, the APA, the LOI. I promise all those will make sense at some point. But I mean, all of that stuff, it's just so nuanced, so detailed. We've read through hundreds of these things at this point, and we're going to be able to tell you like exactly where you need to look, what you don't have to read. That way you can prevent some brain damage as you go through the process. And then before and after photos, marketing stuff. I mean, we have all the before and after pictures for some good cases. So until you have the ability to kind of set up your own portfolio of the cases you've done, you can borrow some of ours. You can show it to your patients, and you can get some higher case acceptance, because case acceptance on bigger procedures in the beginning is really going to move the needle from like a productivity perspective as well.
All right, gentlemen, thank you. All right, inside the document vault, we have training videos, extensive library of training videos on just about everything you can think of. Through this entire process, we talk you through this entire huge, 600-page book, training videos that go along with some of the documents that are inside this beast. We have comprehensive startup and acquisition checklist and timeline. The checklist is huge, guys. So if you have something that it could be 3 pages long, you're never lost in the process, and you're never done until every single item is checked off. If I would have had a comprehensive checklist when I was doing my first startup, I would have saved 6 months and hundreds of thousands of dollars. So the checklist alone keeps you focused and makes sure that you're not missing any huge part of this entire process and not overspending a ton of money.
This can't be understated, because a lot of the brain damage when you take on this kind of project is, where do I start? What are all the things I need to do? We dumped out everything that we could think of that would be included and just streamlined it so you don't have those open loops in your head.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. Just from like the perspective of keeping everything straight and keeping everything in order, like Chris said, it can't be overstated. How to write a business plan. All right. A lot of people don't know how to write a business plan. The first time that I took out my first SBA loan, they asked me to write a business plan, and I literally had to go. Back in the day, there was no Google. I want to say I'm pretty old. This is back in 2002. I had to go and get a book on how to write a business plan, and I didn't do a very good job of it. So we're going to be able to help you guys walk through that process. It's going to be necessary. How to evaluate demographics. We have a whole section on demographics, and we have a whole team that are going to be able to do demographics, drive-by traffic, all the stuff that huge corporations have. You guys will have at your fingertips included in this program. So, when Burger King or Starbucks or Target or Walmart go into a new area, they have a whole team of demographers that tells them that this is a good location or it's not a good location. Dentists don't have deep pockets in order to do that, and they're usually flying by the seat of their pants and going by feel. We'll actually have real numbers that will be delivered to you on whether or not this is the right exact location to pick. Lease negotiations, tactics, and strategies. This is a tricky one, guys. This is one that I have personally lost hundreds of thousands of dollars by not doing this correctly. You have to have some sort of negotiator and some sort of team together, which we can supply for you, that's going to help you go through and see if this lease is heavily favored to the landlords and is heavily skewed in the landlord's favor. You have to make sure that you are represented by somebody that has experience and the knowledge base in order to look through this document.
Remember, with the leases, a lot of times with new construction, a lot of places we're seeing around the country, you're signing a 10-year lease to protect the investment you've made and the build out and the equipment and all that. And we're seeing $1.2 million in lease pay over the 10-year period.
Huge investment.
This is a huge investment. You need to be protected. And wow, this is one of the most important steps to the whole process. And we got you covered there.
Awesome. I'm going to let you take from floor plan down for a bit here.
Sure.
Dr. Green?
Okay. Floor plan design checklist. There's a few different documents in here. The main one is to decide on the flow and the different the number of operatories, where you want sterilization to be, where you want your doctor's office to be, things of that nature. But also included in there is, what colors do I want? How do I want the feel and the vibe in the practice to be? And there's a lot of cost saving strategies that go into this.
Yeah, I have to say, in the 10 acquisitions that I've made, I've walked through hundreds of dental practices to get to those 10 that I actually purchased. and I've seen some wonky floor plans. I've seen some things that didn't make a whole lot of sense, things that weren't ergonomic for the providers, and just things that were out of place and didn't make a whole lot of sense. And if you've never done this before and you're putting your floor plan together without any guidance, there's a really good chance that you can make a really big mistake. And it doesn't have to be super expensive. We're gonna share with you guys a lot of tips to make the floor plan just right and not break the bank as well.
Next, you have the contractor checklist. Contractors, they do construction every day. You do dentistry. These guys can bully you around. And this is a scary space to be in as a dentist. That's maybe you have an associateship going on and you're trying to build out a space. You want to have the resources at your fingertips, know what questions to ask them, know how to do value engineering. What's value engineering? That's saving money in different areas, because you'll get upcharged every which way on flooring, tile, you name it. There's a lot that goes into this, so it's probably too much for this video, but that's critical piece that will help you with. We also have sample initial instrument and supply ordering guides. Questions I see all the time on these Facebook groups on DSN is, what do I need the first day? We have a guide right there. We have samples of what we ordered when we started. Demystifying dental IT. We've talked about this before, and how much savings we can make. There was a great video we just did in the Startup 30 course that talks about all the ways to think about IT. Just some great ideas from Addison and all these guys. Sample employee handbook. You're going to need an employee handbook. This is HR. You have to protect yourself. Who knows if your first hires will be the same ones that are there with you, 2-3 years from opening day. You need to be protected from all those scenarios. Acquisition due diligence checklist. I'm going to pass it off to Tahir on this one.
So the acquisition and due diligence checklist, this can't be understated. When you do an acquisition, you're paying for your goodwill. Like, that's going to be the highest line item on the APA, or the asset purchase agreement. So, the goodwill is your team. The goodwill is the patients within the practice. So this due diligence checklist is going to tell you how to introduce yourself to the team, how to set up your first meetings, how to get them on board, the relationships with the CPAs and the lawyers, and the exact way to do this and the exact way to structure this. So you don't do step 3, then step 1, then step 7. We'll tell you do 1, 2, 3 in this order. It's going to take you about a month, and then do 3, 4, 5, and so on and so forth. KPI scorecards. All of us love metrics, right? We like to see an idea that we have, turn the dial, watch it a month later, and see the revenue or whatever that metric increase. So KPIs, we're going to talk about, hey, here's the things that you're going to want to focus on right away. These are the things that are going to have the biggest impact right away. Focus here, and then once you dial that in, you're going to go to the next KPI, and then so on and so forth. Comprehensive hiring strategy. Especially today, this can't be understated. The team is what's going to make you great. You can do everything, but you're going to hit this critical mass at some point where you're going to have to delegate. You need the team around you to lift you up to the next level, and getting a comprehensive hiring strategy and retention strategy also is going to really move the needle for the business.
Yeah, this includes interview questions to ask, how to go about meeting people before you even have a facility. Are you going to meet them at Starbucks? Are you going to meet them out for coffee somewhere else? I don't know. These are the things that you have to think about. Then we have the rubric for grading resumes, in-person interview strategies. The list goes on.
How to do a background check.
Yeah.
Whether or not you're allowed to do a background check, what questions you're allowed to ask, the stuff that they don't teach you. HR is a tricky topic, and we have some great experts backing us here that have taught us, some of the obstacles to avoid in this process.
Yeah, the vast majority of the people who you're going to employ, they're all protected classes. So all the laws are written to protect employees. There's nothing really in the legal structure to protect employers. So you're going to have to be very careful with how you say things and what you ask, just like Mark was alluding to. The dental savings plan and brochures and the contracts. So we're making a shift where we don't want you to credential with every PPO under the sun. You want to attract those cash patients, but then you also want to retain them. So the dental savers plan, that whole brochure, what to offer, what not to offer, how to track it, how to do the monthly billing. All of that is going to help you track it, and it's going to keep your team from going nuts.
Tax, true.
Yep.
Tax savings and profit first strategies. huge. My first year out as an owner, I got hit with like a huge tax bill because I wasn't planning appropriately for it. And when you don't plan appropriately for it, and then you have to empty out your bank account to pay the government, I mean, you're going to lose some stomach lining.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, no, you'll hear people talk about tax strategies on different dental forums. And what we did, we just kind of laid out the ones that are reasonable and actionable and won't, aren't the ones that kind of raise a red flag to the IRS. But there's a lot of them that you could take advantage of. It took me 3 years to figure out these. I just lay them out on a list for you. You got them from day one, ready to go. So once money starts rolling in, you want to know, how much do I have to keep for taxes? How much do I need to set aside for lab bills? Sometimes we have Invisalign lab bills that start adding up, and it comes at that 60-day mark, and you don't have enough in the lab bill account. So we'll show you how that works. And then most importantly, it's called Profit First for a reason. So you want to take some money home. This has helped me really save a lot of money and set my future up. So I really like this method of accounting.
Awesome. Thanks, gentlemen. Okay, so the document vault. Dr. Green?
Yeah, so we mentioned it earlier. This is kind of the meat and potatoes of just having something ready to go. You could watch the videos. It'll have QR codes for each section that explains each chapter of this document vault, okay? Goes through all the steps that are in this process towards practice ownership. So we have a business plan, which we already alluded to, demographics, notes, checklists, analytics, how to evaluate competition. We have the lease basics. This includes all the different things you want in a dental specific lease. There are a lot. I mean, how many parking spaces do I need? How many am I entitled to? That was just one weird thing that you would never think of. I'm already running out of parking for my team and my patients at my facility. Construction and architecture. We know how painful this area is. There are a lot of cost savings ideas out there. Just so many. Mark has done 6 startups, is it? Mm-hmm. And some of the ideas he shared with me, and when we've kind of gone back and forth on, they're great. I mean, they'll save you a lot of money. This is your biggest line item, okay? This is the biggest line item with a startup, and we got you covered there. Equipment bids. You're going to get a $200,000 equipment bid from your Shine or Banco rep or Patterson rep. That is ridiculous. We have ways to save money there every step of the way. I think my first bid was $190,000. I got it down to $60,000. Now I have room to buy a CBCT if I want. We'll talk about that. Is a CBCT or a panel the right decision? We also have lists for what instruments. We mentioned this already. Supplies. We vetted out. We have a pre-vetted supply list. So even if you use different supplies, we all use gauze is gauze and suctions are suctions. We have the exact place. Do I buy it from Darby? Do I buy it from Henry Schein? We've already vetted it out. The list, the item number, everything. You just hand that to your rep and you get the cheapest price on all those things right away. IT with startups, we've talked about that. And I'm going to pass it over to Taher for the right side here.
I'm just going to interject for a second. I want you guys to look at lease, construction and architecture, equipment, and IT. None of us, when we get out of dental school, knows enough about these things to represent ourselves. And the amount of savings that you can experience from construction, equipment, and IT alone, I mean, it's astronomical. And the amount of overspending is also potentially astronomical as well. If you get in a bad lease and you're signing a $1.2 million lease over 10 years, and there's something in there that favors the landlord that you were completely unaware of, you're stuck with that lease legally for 10 years. So I just think that it's really important to get a little bit of guidance, or a lot of guidance if necessary, in all of these areas, but particularly those 4 that really stick out to me as super important.
Your path to financial freedom, I mean, it starts here. When you're, whatever stage you're at, you just don't know what you don't know. Taking on extra money, tens of thousands of dollars here, it could be burdensome for years to come. So we're going to make sure that, we check all those line items and can save you that money wherever we can.
Awesome.
Yeah, HR and hiring, like we alluded to, I mean, hiring good people and then retaining them is huge, not only just for patient experience, but also for cost savings. It's very expensive to hire people and to train them and then to recycle all over again because you can't retain your employees. So we're going to teach you, your employee handbook. We have example employee handbooks. Like you can't have a video system that's recording audio in your break room. All the nuances of law and all the state specific things, we're going to get you the connections to the people who are going to protect you for the long haul. Accounting, I mean, everyone needs to learn how to read a balance sheet. You got to learn how to read your P&L. You have to be very tactical, and based on the P&L, you're going to make very expensive decisions. So we're going to teach you how to take that information, and then we're going to teach you how to take it and then multiply your revenue because you know what the numbers are meaning. So acquisition resources, we're going to go through the due diligence checklist. This is going to be when you're reading the prospectus, what you're going to ask the broker to send you, because the brokers are going to take these prospectuses and they're going to pad all their stats. The brokers get paid based on the sale of the practice. So inherently, they want this to be overvaluated. So we're going to teach you how to read the prospectuses, figure out if it's apples to apples, and then we'll give you the checklist to send to that broker to get the information you need. What to complete prior to closing after the LOI is accepted. I mean, once you have the LOI accepted, it's a quick sprint. You know, you got a lot of things to do in a very short period of time, and we'll tell you exactly how to do that. A blank LOI to submit. We have the Super GP acquisition startup program. So you'll be able to reference these things and say, okay, we're going to do this in these specific orders from an acquisition perspective. And then also from a clinical perspective, like what clinical procedures are we going to add to the business? If you take over for a bread and butter practice, and then you try to just add orthodontics and Invisalign and implants and wisdom teeth and perio and endo, I mean, your team is going to go nuts. They're going to just leave right out the back door. So it's like, okay, let's analyze things and then do it in a very, sequential manner so their heads don't explode. Thinking about selling your dental practice. So these are example documents that we've created that have the best ROI in terms of what you can take to prospective sellers or people who aren't even on the market, and you can find good acquisitions before they hit the market and before they have 10 bids present. And then we have contracts and example contracts and everything you need from that perspective. Very expensive legal documents. I mean, everyone here has spent tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars on these documents. And we're going to give you we'll give you the skeleton documents so you can go and plug and play and save yourselves a lot of money with your lawyers. And we also review business insurances. We'll give you advice on what you need to buy and what you don't need to buy. And at the end of the day, it's going to save you a lot of money knowing what you need to sign up for right away.
All right. Continuing on the document vault. Key performance indicators, KPIs, tracking KPI lead measures. That's something that we specialize in DSI, and we're going to transfer that knowledge onto you. Exactly what it is you want to track on a monthly, quarterly, and yearly basis. Overhead. Speaking my language, my favorite topic. Overhead projection, overhead and cash flow control, spreadsheets, startup projections, group calculator, and samples of exactly what you are needing to analyze every single month to make sure that your overhead is in check and your profitability is where you want it to be after things settle down with a startup and immediately when you take over for an acquisition. Okay, startup notes, sample budget and low-hanging fruit. What categories can we clip right away to make sure that overhead is in the correct range? Supply list, an office supply list. I can't tell you, I remember the first time I did my first startup, I was like, I think I need some flowable. How much? I don't know, but I'm just going to buy some. I think I need some packable. I think I need some matrix bands. What else do I need? I can't think. This is just going to give you the basic supply list to open an office and not be short of anything when you open doors. And just the right amounts so that you're not overstocked. Your inventory is within check and you're not overdoing it in any particular category. Okay, Dr. Green, you want to take it?
Yeah, so practice management, we'll have sample phone scripts. Your patients have to fill out medical history, HIPAA documents, things like that. We have samples of all these things ready to go for you, post-op instructions, as well as consent forms. We have those that have worked for us and protected us over the years. All right, Taher, close us out on this document vault.
Yeah, and like we talked about, guys, we have the operations manual, we have the full marketing plan, the dental savers plan that ties within the marketing plan, and then the Transformation 45 program, which is, it's amazing.
Okay, that was a lot of information. Thank you guys for sticking all the way to the end of this video. All right, so between myself, Dr. Dune, Dr. Green and Dr. Killeen, we've owned 27 dental practices. We've seen a lot. We're still all wet finger dentists, so we feel your pain. We've seen what works, what doesn't work, because in addition to the practices that we personally own, we've coached hundreds of dental practices on how to be more efficient and more profitable. So if you guys decide to go with us, we promise that you will not be alone during this process. If I had the information that we're sharing with you guys today, when I did my first startup all the way through my 16th, it would have made a huge difference in my career. My trajectory, my timeline, and the amount of money that I would have saved and the amount of money that I would have made is incalculable. So thank you guys again for sticking to the end of this. In front of you, you have the What You Get document that explains the cost breakdown. And we hope to be working with you guys soon. Have a great day. Talk to you soon.